David, you institutionally...
Well, I think some of that may resonate with lots of us, and it clearly does with those who applaud you, Ed, but it's rich coming from you, I have to say, forgive me. And we've all been jolly palais here, but now we're going to get stuck in. You know, come on, you play cricket. I told you before this debate, cricket is actually my favourite game, and I love it. How many people do you see nicking the ball and not walking? Come on, all the time. And it happens in other sports. So the reason why I would love to see video technology, I am personally in favour of video technology, goal line technology. I think it would improve our professional game in the UK, in England, and in Europe. But however, the reason why it's opposed, and imposed so implacably by UEFA and FIFA, is that this is the beautiful game for the entire world. And, you know, we have a referee, the referee's word is final, and something might happen behind the back of the referee. And it's the debating point in the pubs and in the dressing rooms and everywhere we go amongst the supporters. But the fact of the matter is we empower the referee. We try to make the referees more efficient. We put fourth officials in. They're now doing trials with goal line officials and so forth, whether that's right or wrong. But the game has to be affordable to the entire world. And you can't create rules for one and then have it inaccessible to the African nation or to Southeast Asia or wherever else it is,
or
where
indeed
they
the
want,
amateur game.
or indeed the amateur game, and the 42,000 clubs. There are 42,000 clubs. Somebody said, you know, we hadn't mentioned the national game.
One of the questions was that money is spread too thinly between the clubs at the top and not spread down through the game.
Well, we're not starting with a clean sheet of paper, and that's the really, you know, that is the awkwardness. I mean, we look at American sport, and we might well look at it enviously, as I do sometimes, and think to myself, wouldn't it be great if everybody could start off with an equal clean sheet of paper, you know, with the same chance of winning and losing. But the fact of the matter is we're not. This is the real world, and we are where we are, and we've got to try and react and make sure that we bring in the best levels of governance, the best levels of control to deal with the challenges that come with the modern game.
Okay, I'll let you guys come back on this.
I mean, let's cut to the quick here. There was a famous case of a man of match fixing in this country with a goalkeeper called Grobbelaar. Grobbelaar was actually filmed taking a bribe for fixing a match. I don't know if you remember it. It was shown on television quite frequently. And this country took an opinion about a footballer that when he was actually prosecuted, the jury would not convict a footballer. When he then sued for libel, the jury found for the footballer because the footballer could not do any wrong. And that is the whole problem that we on this side of the table are confronted with. That those who argue that football is the beautiful game are supported by a blinkered view that football can do no wrong, that if there is corruption like match fixing, of which there is an enormous amount in the world, not much in England, but in southern Europe and other countries, or where gamblers control the fate of a football match by getting the lights switched off in the stadium at the right moment, or all the bungs and bribes which are handed out throughout football, all of this is brushed aside because you're given some romantic, beautiful story about a beautiful past and a beautiful save. And that is part of the story. But in the end, the complacency is killing the sport because, as Ed quite rightly says, it's Manchester United and Chelsea and Manchester United. And those hundreds of teams and thousands of players at the bottom of the divisions and in the various amateur leagues are being squeezed out and deprived and denied because too much has been sold out to people who are interested in money and fame and vanity and not in the beauty of the game.
Okay, let's, I think we've answered those questions. Hang on.
You must answer that.
You got very briefly, because I want to move on to some other questions. Okay.
Which is so easy to do. The confusion is that football does not pretend to give a moral lead. And you're attacking it all the time for being corrupt. All these, nobody goes along in football saying, vote for me, I'm a good living footballer. Follow my team, we've got great moral standards. It's not like politics. Now, in politics, we've discovered all these appalling corrupt things we never knew about. I never knew about the flipping. I never knew about all these fiddles that were going on. Whereas a football fan since 1880, we knew there were bungs of some sort. I'm not condoning it, but we knew about it. But football doesn't say we are holier than thou. We're a rough, tough, hold on, but politicians say, vote for me because I'm a lovely married man. Vote for me, I've got a lovely family. Vote for me, and I'll tell you what to do. You're confusing it, and you shouldn't attack football for those reasons.
Well, Wembley Stadium, excuse me, let me finish this, because it's rather important. Wembley Stadium cost £756 million. How much of that came from taxpayers' money? When you're bidding to host the World Cup in 2018, how much of that will be taxpayers' money? Go through the list. It is our money that is supporting football in a large way. So don't come and suggest that somehow football is separate from morality. It is morality. It is all part of our fabric of life. And that is the problem that we are debating here today. The complacency is undermining it.
All right, I'm going to take some more questions, because the gentleman up there has been waiting a long time. Yeah.
I think football is a beautiful game, and I used to love it. But for me, watching professional football has been spoiled, although the skill is increased, by the extraordinary amount of cheating that goes on now. It's not called cheating, but it just is extraordinarily high. And I took the trouble to find out some statistics on this some years ago, and found out, which was compiled by a man called Tony Brown, who is specialized in counting the numbers of sending off ever since 1891. And he found from 1891 to 1961, there was a pretty steady state of about 12 a year sendings off. And then there was a rise and a rise and a rise, and then by 94, 95, the number of sending off had increased 36 times. And if you think that's because the referees are more tough, then there are people like Sir Tom Finney who think otherwise.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. Someone around here, because we haven't had one from down there. Yes.
A point more for Hunter, more than anyone else, really. I've been privileged to take my son, who's 11 years old, to cricket many times, to Lords. Unfortunately, he hasn't seen Ed play. He's missed that opportunity. To Twickenham, to watch England play. Huge rivalries in games he's seen. And in no occasion have I ever felt uncomfortable taking a child to a ground. I take him to my other passion, which is football, West Ham or Fulham, take him in the family end, and time after time, the language is ugly. Hunter, they don't say, you don't know what they're doing, you don't know what you're doing. They say, who's the wanker in the black? How would you feel about taking your grandchildren to having that aggression constantly?
Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much indeed. I think we got your message. Shame we're not after the watershed. Anyway, yes.
A question for Tom Bauer in particular. I've noticed that one of the themes is about reclaiming English football for the English. But surely it is no more beautiful if it is English or if it's foreign.
Okay. Let's address that, Hunter. Children do not feel comfortable, or parents do not feel comfortable with their children in a ground watching football.
That might have been true some years ago, but if you listen to any primary school playground, the conversation going on, you listen to girls on the bus. I'm still appalled. I'm sitting on a bus and hear girls at private schools in uniform effing and blinding and the most appalling language to each other. It does upset me. I have been with Tony Blair and Gordon Brown, and their language is absolutely appalling. I'm afraid the sort of language we hear at football matches is, alas, the language of today.
It is the language of today. There's nothing unusual about what you hear on a terrace as to what you hear on a street.